Coming up next is the Pro Wrestling Report Interactive. More of your emails submitted via PWRshow.com. We're going to talk about Sheamus, talk about the new TNA ring, if you will, and so much more. This is the Pro Wrestling Report Interactive, and it starts right now.
Number one since 1998 on television, ESPN Radio, and the World Wide Web, this is the Pro Wrestling Report with your hosts, the man they call Meathead, Frank Cosentino, and Damian Nelson. Professional wrestling news, opinion, and information from fans for fans.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Pro Wrestling Report Interactive. It's February 3rd, 2010. Damian
Did you see your shadow yesterday?
Damian Nelson sitting alongside the man they call Meathead. Meathead, let's launch right into it. It's all about the emails. Let's first go to Cesar Cortez, who sends us in. Guys, what do you think about the new TNA ring? Why do they keep coming back to the very small ring? I think this size ring does not help a match at all. Many times wrestlers keep themselves from hitting the ropes on a simple freaking backflip. The only ring that has worked out so small was the ODCW ring, but I think it was more because of all the over-the-top bounce and effect the ring had. What's your take? Does the ring make a difference in the quality of a match? I sure think so. Just like an arena football game is not the same, or a softball field is not the same. That from Cesar Cortez. Thoughts on the smaller version of ring being used by TNA and
honestly, I think
WCW?
you're going way too deep into it. The only thing that I think really matters in a ring is the tightness of the ropes. When you hit the ropes, and I'm not speaking as a wrestler. I've never wrestled.
Do you prefer it tight or loose?
I prefer them tight. The only thing that I'm speaking about is the fact that you gotta believe that a guy, when he wants to hit the ropes, wants as tight as possible so he can snap right back off of it. If you got a loose rope, you're ending up sagging into it. I remember watching a local show here that we went to, and a bigger talent that was working at damn near caved the ring in when he fell back into the ropes because they were just too loose. So I got to assume that the size doesn't really matter. Those guys, it's all the playground to work.
You say that line so naturally.
I got to assume that the size of the ring doesn't matter so much as in the tightness of the ropes. I like it tight.
I never liked WCW's smaller ring.
You never liked WCW, period.
No, I didn't. It was encroaching upon my beloved WWE.
Here comes the hate.
I felt besmirched. Because it was so clear it was a smaller ring. TNA shouldn't have a 20 by 20. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. They're in a smaller venue. They're in a smaller setting. They should have a smaller ring. It makes perfect sense to me, and I don't think it has any negative impact on the product. When you talk to talents as we have, and they say there's no difference between 6 sides, 4 sides, right, the size really probably does not matter much. But thank you for that email, Cesar Cortez. Let's move on now to Perth, Western Australia.
Okay. It's another email from down under.
Mitchell Carter sends this in. Simple question. Hey, guys, how many world title reigns do you think Triple H has left in him, and is it enough to break Ric Flair's record of 16?
I want to say that Triple H doesn't care about the record. That's what I want to say. But depending on what Ric Flair does in TNA, maybe a pot shot to WWE here and there, maybe there is a Triple H, a couple extra title runs to take that record away from him. But technically that record doesn't count. Doesn't the King really have the record?
Well, when you talk about world championships in WWE or WCW or NWA, I think those are the 3 that count.
Okay. Because I thought King had over 20.
I believe it's well north of 20.
Yeah.
And 18 of those were the USWA, weren't they?
But it is what it is.
I have said for a very long time that I think Triple H will stop at nothing less than achieving at least as many as, if not more, reigns than Ric Flair had. I just think he feels he deserves it. I think he thinks he's entitled to it. I think it's going to happen down the road. He's still got a lot left in his tank, does Triple H.
He does.
He'll be around for a number of years.
And remember, it's his company.
Well,
come on. Shane O'Mac is gone. Shane O'Mac is gone. Who's the next male in line?
Why has he got to be a male, you chauvinist pig?
But I'm talking about talent that works in the ring. Linda's not going to take over the business. Stephanie's not going to get in there and wrestle. It's Trips.
John Cena, actually, is the wrestling face of it.
John Cena can't even get out to the ring on cue on time. I mean, he's got Triple H and Shawn.
2 weeks ago. What are you talking about?
He's got Triple H and Shawn Michaels pissing in the morning. Where's John? Ah!
Stupid! 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 Thank you very much for that email, Mitchell Carter from Perth in the western half of Australia. Andrew James, who goes by the name of Aussie Andrew from Newcastle, South Wales, Australia, sends this in. And this was a very well-written email. It is titled, A WWE Fan's Take on TNA. In 2010, TNA has finally, in my eyes, a WWE fan's eyes, gotten my attention. Hulk Hogan and the signings he has brought in, along with other former WWE stars who have come to TNA in recent times leading up to Hulk's arrival, have really made a big difference to the company. TNA has now got a roster that can compete with WWE. Changes to the Impact Zone, and most noticeably, the six-sided ring being changed to four sides, is also more appealing to a WWE fan as well. Sure, when you see the six-sided ring for the first time, you think, wow, that's cool, but after a while, the novelty wears off, and I found the six-sided ring distracted me from the action in the ring. This WWE fan for now has interest in TNA. It's up to TNA to now keep my and the WWE fans' attention long term. Very well written, very well thought out,
And appreciated,
interesting
of course.
points. The first point being bringing in the former stars and getting WWE fans to notice.
It's all a calculated plan. Very clear and simple.
It's like Tyson at WrestleMania 14.
You know, again, you could say all TNA is a new version of WCW. All WCW was they were taking WWE's established stars already.
Oh,
And you
my God.
you hear the comments over and over, who have they built, who have they built? You got to give them time.
Well,
you can't
they
get it.
built the new global champion.
Who's Damian Nelson's next big thing in
I've liked them all
2010?
along.
Don't get me started.
What I have?
This is the guy that off camera go, I didn't say nothing about Rob Terry. I don't want Rob Terry.
Whoa,
He's got the belt.
whoa,
Rob
whoa.
Terry.
What is that dialect you're using? Whoa. 2 weeks of this? 2 weeks of this? Really? It's been a while since Jesse and Al have been down here. If you want
About
them
a
knocking
minute.
on the door again.
About a minute. I don't want to open a door. Then Dave Hero will get in here.
The next point was the six side to four sides. Novelty wearing off. Cool at first. Your thoughts?
I've said this before many times on the TV shows, on the radio shows, on 540 ESPN, and on Express and on Primetime. I still think it's a fail, taking away the six sides. Granted, some may say, oh, it was a distraction, but you know what? It made you different. If they're going to do all this other stuff to make themselves look like the WWE, to make themselves look like they're a major league company, still keep something that makes you not WWE.
What's the difference between McDonald's and Burger King?
One has a clown and one has a king.
Difference between McDonald's and Wendy's.
One has a clown, one has a broad. But
The point I'm getting at is they serve the same product, and really there's no...
No, they don't.
They serve fast food, burgers, fries, generally.
Hey, it's
That's
hot
that's
food.
their core.
It's hot food fast. That's a Seinfeld reference if you didn't catch that.
Well, Kenny Rogers will never be a guest on this show, even with the roast.
Hi, fellas. I'm Kenny Rogers.
Thank you very much for that email from Australia. And now let's go to an email from Jason Ayala. Well, I probably stated that wrong. My apologies to you, Jason, who wants to talk about Sheamus.
It's a shame. Something.
I just think of Sheamus at the Royal Rumble this past Sunday.
Again, Sheamus's hair, John Cena's gear, or any other wrestler's fake bake. What's more orange?
And I quote, unlike a lot of fans, I actually like that they put the belt on Sheamus despite his lack of paid dues in WWE. It is new, which is great, and could be a good way to see if he can hang in the main event scene. However, my big problem with the whole situation is the fact that he isn't main eventing or ending Raw every week. Granted, Evan Bourne and MVP aren't exactly main event material, but it just seems that since the belt isn't on Cena, Orton, or Triple H, the championship just isn't as important as DX's shenanigans. It reminds me of when Benoit was champion and was wrestling on Velocity. It was kind of odd and out of place. It just doesn't make sense to me for a champion not to headline the show he is champion of.
It's funny that that's mentioned, too, because I think back to Y2J being the first ever undisputed champion, and that guy was wrestling at the end of the first hour every night. Because it was more about Triple H and what he was doing.
Important time for the show.
It is one of the more important times, but the most important time is to be kind of like when we do our tapings. You have the curtain jerker sitting in my chair first, and then he gets out, and then the main event comes in.
Frank's not even sitting here to defend himself. How dare you? You are a coward.
I am not a coward.
You're a coward. You're hiding behind the camera.
I'm not. I'll come over onto the other side of the camera and tackle.
Oh, believe me, nobody wants that. Sheamus, Dave Hero has actually made this point several times about who he should be wrestling and who he would be wrestling, and we saw that elevation happen.
Yeah.
I think he's really going to be made, though, when he has a match with Cody Rhodes. What?
Cody Rhodes will get destroyed.
Okay. I think he'll be made when he has a match with The Miz.
No.
Is Miz
Because they're
the
protecting.
closest thing to The Rock since The Rock?
No, not even close.
I
You know
disagree.
who's the closest
He is
thing?
very close.
You know who was the
Who
closest
dat?
thing to The Rock since The Rock? Might give
No.
it too far away
Disagree.
out of reach.
Disagree.
No, Mr. Kennedy or Mr. Anderson. That was the closest.
He's good. He's good. Borderline great. But The Miz
It's not great.
No. The Miz is more in tune with the fans, meaning he seems to know what to say, when to say it, how to say it, and people hate him so much. He's almost like a heel version of The Rock. People hate him so much that they just clamor to him. You keep discounting The Miz, I'll tell you. A couple months from now.
I like The Miz. I like him. I don't think he's awesome, but I like him. But I don't think people are clamoring.
Does anybody
to him.
beat him? I'm The Miz. Yep, no clue where we were.
That's okay because the lights are shining on you right about here. You got light shining on your eyes and going, because I'm The Miz.
This past Monday night, we were live on 540 ESPN, streaming all over the world at ESPNMilwaukee.com. I want to thank all of you for your votes in the Wrestling Radio Awards, and thank all of you for your feedback on our wrap-up to the Royal Rumble this past Sunday on
Thank you.
pay-per-view. You can hear all of our thoughts on the Royal Rumble on that 540 ESPN radio show, available on iTunes and PWRshow.com. And also, be sure to subscribe to the iTunes version of the Pro Wrestling Report. All of our videos and all of our audio shows available.
Is that app ready yet?
Still waiting to hear from Cal, who's been busy trying to lasso you. We'll be back on Friday with a brand new edition of the Pro Wrestling Report Prime Time. And remember, you can always catch the Pro Wrestling Report on demand at PWRshow.com. So, for the man they call Meathead and the Kaz and David Hero, this is Damian Nelson saying thank you for tuning in to this week's edition of the Pro Wrestling Report Interactive.